50 million Filipinos by the end of the year. And after over 2 decades, Eraserheads frontman Ely Buendia finally reveals the story behind their hit single, Spoliarium. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Charles Lejano. 4-day lockdown in 2 barangays and 2 hotels in Santa Cruz, Manila is now underway. To give us the latest situation on the ground, we have Justine Punsalang. She's reporting to us live from Manila. Justine, good morning. How is the first few hours of lockdown there, and were there any violators apprehended?
Charles, the policemen manning the only entry and exit points of Barangay 351 here in Santa Cruz, Manila, just switched after their first 6 hours of duty. Although policemen are supposed to render 12 hours of duty, Manila Police District Director Brigadier General Leo Francisco explained that he shortened the field duties of the policemen so that they can perform their duties efficiently. At the stroke of midnight, motorcycle riding policemen from Santa Cruz Police Station entered Barangay 351 and started roving to make sure all residents are abiding by the lockdown protocols. Besides roving policemen, each corner of the barangay is also manned by both police and barangay officials. Authorities have also already prepared the temporary detention area for lockdown violators. Police even already set up a mugshot station to aid their plan to file cases against violators. Several minutes past midnight, Manila Police District Director Police Brigadier General Leo Francisco arrived at Barangay 351 to conduct an inspection of his personnel. He was impressed by the organization as well as the cooperation of the barangay. Besides uniformed personnel manually manning the streets, barangay officials also monitored their CCTVs to make sure that all bases are covered. Francisco then went to the primarily commercial Barangay 725, where a man was flagged down. But the man explained and showed proof that he was neither a resident nor did he visit the lockdown area. He said that he was just passing by on his way home after assisting his sick girlfriend. While Francisco was satisfied with his explanation, he was not pleased upon seeing a limited number of policemen securing the one-block area. He ordered the station commander of Malate Police to send more policemen to boost area security. But his displeasure mounted upon seeing that only 4 policemen were manning the 2 lockdown hotels. He explained each hotel should have at least 10 personnel manning the premises to keep the peace should there be any conflict inside the hotels like residents insisting to leave. Francisco immediately ordered the station commander of Ermita to relieve Remedios PCP commander for not implementing the agreed deployment. When backup police arrived, Francisco reminded them about their basic responsibilities during the lockdown. Charles, the local government of Manila just dropped the food packs here in Barangay 351 to their barangay hall. The barangay hall will then later on distribute the food packs to each household door to door. There are around more than 2,000 households that will benefit from the food packs in all 3 barangays. The food packs contain 3 kilos of rice, 16 canned goods, and 8 sachets of instant coffee. So far here in Barangay 351, there are already 3 violators that are currently in the temporary detention facility of the barangay. Charles?
Thank you, Justine Punsalang, reporting live from Santa Cruz, Manila. Over in Quezon City, Mayor Joy Belmonte says a total of 16 areas are placed under the so-called 14-day special lockdown. Speaking with 1PH's Sa Totoo Lang, Belmonte said they are forced to implement lockdowns immediately to combat the spread of the virus in the city. Although Belmonte assures the public that they have almost perfected their system since they have been implementing localized lockdowns since last year. But unlike before, the mayor notes more residents are getting infected straight from their homes and workplaces.
Pami-pamilya po ang ating quarantine ngayon, which is very different from the pattern in the past, no? And also, malaki na po ang incidences of community transmission. So number 1 po yan, yung household, tapos community, tapos workplace, tapos sumusunod na yung iba, no? And so I want to be stricter in the areas where we have identified na doon yung transmission.
While they still have enough bed space in their quarantine facilities, Belmonte admits that some COVID wards in their public hospitals are already at full capacity. That's why she says it's now time for every government leader to take action as soon as possible.
I think it's proper for us to feel quite alarmed as leaders of our city, of our country, that this is happening not just in Quezon City but throughout NCR, and I believe in other local government units as well. At naghihintay lang po tayo ng order, no, mula sa taas kung ano ba talaga ang tingin nilang nararapat nating gawin para tugunan ito.
DILG Undersecretary Ipimako Dinsing is urging LGUs to penalize those who do not practice minimum health standards when outside their homes. The official emphasized that the best-known way to prevent transmission of the virus is the public's compliance with protocols like wearing of face masks and observing physical distancing. And to effectively implement these measures, Dinsing says LGUs should pass ordinances that impose penalties like community work, fines, or even jail time for protocol violators. Dinsing is also urging NCR mayors to synchronize restrictive policies such as curfew hours, especially among neighboring LGUs.
If ever they're going to increase the hours of their curfew, if they can do it uniformly because they are adjacent local government units. It's hard if one curfew is at 10 o'clock, the other one is at 12 midnight. So just to make sure that it's uniform, at least within Metro Manila.
Senate President pro tempore Ralph Recto is criticizing the PNP's latest directive on banning public displays of affection in light of COVID-19. Recto believes one must not wage a war on love. Patricia Mangune with the story.
Since the onset of the pandemic, Filipinos have been constantly reminded, wear masks, wash hands, and observe physical distancing. As the country sees a rise in cases in the past few days, the Philippine National Police is emphasizing on the physical distancing bit. How so? The prohibition of public display of affection, or PDA. This includes holding hands or wrapping one's arm on another person. Couples, friends, and even families are covered by the PNP directive.
Matagal na yan, ipapaigtingin lang natin kasi nga part of the NITF at saka yung mga locals are already alarmed.
Some couples do not mind the PDA ban.
Pabor naman, para maiwasan na rin yung pagdami ng COVID kahit mag-asawa. Para iwas na rin ng sa bahay, kung sakali.
Others are asking for consideration.
Mahirap man ng paglakad sa isa. Kailangan hawakan. Sana naman mga bigyan ng konsiderasyon. Po yung magsasyota o kaya sa magkaibigan, parang medyo hindi dapat social distancing po, di ba? Ganon. Pero yung sa magnanay po kasi magkasama naman po sa bahay.
Over at the Quezon City Memorial Circle, a popular hangout place for lovers, the police did not reprimand couples sitting next to each other and engaging in PDA. But they did issue tickets to those who are not wearing face masks. The PNP vows to deploy more staff in public places.
Yes, meron silang nahigpitan, dagdagan yung deployment, lalo na dyan sa mga malls, mga restaurants, no? At saka sa mga public places.
But Senate President pro tempore Ralph Recto finds the PNP directive absurd, as kisses, holding hands, and hugs are harmless. Recto says they are waging a war on love, not on COVID-19. He urges the PNP to clarify their directive whether it also covers the mano po, also an act of affection. For News 5, Patricia Mangune. We are One News.
We now bring you the biggest stories from the dailies. Malacanang reiterates that there is no need yet to shift to a stricter modified enhanced community quarantine in Metro Manila and nearby provinces. That's despite reports of family clusters being infected with COVID-19. Citing presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, the Philippine Star reports that the recent statistics do not call for the shift to MECQ. And Roque says the government will only tighten quarantine rules once we lack the necessary ICU beds to take care of serious cases. Filipino Star ngayon reports that the government plans to inoculate 50 million Filipinos by this year. And to achieve this, NTF Deputy Chief Implementer Vince Dizon says the government needs to vaccinate at least 250,000 to 300,000 Filipinos daily. But for now, only 1.1 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have arrived in the country since February. And this from Pangmasa, the health department clarifies that the so-called Brazilian variant of concern has not yet been detected in the country. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere explains that the confusion might have come from the difference between the Brazilian lineage and Brazilian variant of concern. In an interview with One News's The Chiefs, Aletea de Guzman from the DOH's Epidemiology Bureau pointed out the difference between the two.
So meron na tayo na-detect na mga kaso positibo dito sa tinatawag nating Brazilian lineage, which is the B.1.1.28. So balit yung variant of concern na Brazil, yun pong P.1, hindi pa po natin siya nade-detect sa mga na-sequence po nating sample. Anong diferensya nitong Brazilian variant of concern? So the term in itself na variant of concern, ito po yung mga masusi, no, closely minomonitor po natin kasi sila yung nakikitaan natin ng potential na impact doon sa isang taong may kaso o di po kaya sa ating community. At para dito sa Brazilian variant of concern, ang isang posibleng epekto po niya is yung tinatawag nating increased transmissibility, so posibleng mag-cause siya ng mga spikes in cases, o di po kaya may potential na epekto po siya sa ating vaccine efficacy.
Infectious disease expert Dr. Jean Solante says it's impossible to say for sure whether these new variants are not just spreading around undetected. In an interview with One News's Sa Totoo Lang, Solante said the government needs to boost its genome sequencing efforts to detect all variants that are now in the country.
Palagi kong sinasabi to, no, na it's very difficult for us to really say na wala, no, because we're not testing all our positives. If we will be doing a lot of this analysis or genomic sequencing, then we may be able to really look at the whole picture if we have other variants aside from this UK and the South African variant.
In the same interview, Solante also allayed fears over the efficacy of vaccines against the new variants. He said the efficacy rates of known vaccines aren't significantly affected by the South African and Brazilian variants. He added that fast-tracking the vaccination program will stop the spread of these virus mutations.
Because the only way possible to combat and neutralize these variants coming in or more variants to come is giving the vaccine so that you'll develop immunity so that there will be no more transmission of a virus that is driving them to mutate and because of the increasing numbers of cases. So gusto kong ulitin to, the more we will be vaccinated, the more we develop the immunity, we will stop the virus transmission. We can also diminish also the risk for variation or variants of this COVID virus.
And indeed, SB19 lang sa kalam. The music video for their comeback single, What?, has now reached 1.7 million views, 1 day and a half since its release. The much-awaited song on self-love and empowerment, along with its powerful visual accompaniment, taking the internet by storm. And this only marks the beginning of the group's ikalawang yugto. Needless to say, the world will be watching as SB19 tries to take its rightful place in history as the kings of pop. Still on OPM, Ely Buendia has finally revealed the meaning behind the Eraserheads hit Spoliarium. Speculations have it that the song alluded to the rape of 80s actress Pepsi Paloma, but in a podcast, the band's frontman says that the song actually has a very mundane meaning. He said it's all just about getting pissed drunk. And according to Buendia, the Gintong Alak line refers to an actual Swiss drink, while Enteng and Joey were their former roadies. Here are the stories to watch out for later today. President Duterte is off to Dumaguete to attend the inauguration of development projects in Sibulan Airport, as well as the city's port operations building. The Senate will conduct a joint hearing into the spate of killings, which has targeted lawyers, doctors, journalists, and other professions, while over at the lower house, lawmakers will continue their probe into the increasing food prices. And several private hospitals in Metro Manila will be receiving COVID-19 vaccines for their health workers. These include the De Los Santos Medical Center in Quezon City and the UST Hospital in Manila. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us later at 10 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We're One News.